Are we live?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Let me see.
Oh, oh,
Should be good, I think.
oh,
Let's go for it.
oh.
All right, welcome back, fam. As the young kids say, we are live again.
And old.
And old. Um, we, oh geez, we had about a week and a half off of the show, something like that.
Yep.
Mainly due to, I don't know, I guess some scheduling conflict and also the start of 4th edition, which we're here to talk about today.
It's about damn time.
So let me welcome you all to the Old Man Gaming Hour.
Or so.
Oh, look at Mike. Mike's in the chat. Mike is actually preparing for day 3 or day 2 of a GT that he's at, which we're going to talk about here in a bit. So I don't know what time you guys got to start, Mike, but good luck today, buddy.
Crush souls.
Yep. Crush souls, take names, all the fun shit because you're in Pennsylvania and that's all there is to do there.
I think they have tacos too.
In Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Probably got cheesesteak sandwiches, I bet, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheesesteak. I had cheesesteak last night at work. Ironically.
Look at you. You getting it. You are supporting Mike in his endeavors.
That's exactly what I was trying to do.
Through your dinner sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, we are here to talk about our first impressions of 4.0. I think for the most part, the game has changed a bit for the better. But before we get into the main topic, as always, let's run through a few things here. First of all, what'd you do? Let's see. Where's my pen? Forgot I'm a professional now, so I gotta jot down times.
Well, this is the worst show on YouTube.
Oh, that's true. All right, outside of Warhammer.
I am working my ass off. I'm in the middle of a 15-day stretch. I'm gonna miss the tournament you guys are playing in next week up here in Lansing, but maybe I'll get the chance to stop in.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer.
Yep. But here I am, grinding away. I'm in a 15-day stretch because I want to make a little extra money to go on vacation next month. So,
as one does.
Live in the Ohana room. As you can
yeah.
see. So it's
that's true.
So it's a fact. I'm not lying to you.
If Josh is in the Ohana room, aka Lansing, it means he's working. So, geez, outside of Warhammer for me, we did take a little trip down to Columbus. Not a huge fan of where I went to, but we went down there to watch a softball tournament, and happens to be hosted right on OSU's campus.
Mecca.
That was less than desirable for me to be there. However,
greatest place on earth.
It was a fun weekend. Got back late Sunday, and then basically did just about nothing Warhammer through the week, up until Thursday. But I will say this. We did try out Spearhead.
Oh, yeah,
Thursday.
You went up to the shop, yeah.
Yeah. That was actually kind of enjoyable. It's a little bit weird. to play after playing Warhammer for so long. That in the sense that there's a lot of stuff in Spearhead you just can't do because it's like a way simpler game. So there's like no command points, so you can't just do any command you want to do, like all out attack or all out D. You know, the simple things, you can't even do those. So
it's the simple things.
other than that, like once you get engaged with your opponent, like the rounds go by in minutes because there really isn't much to do other than fight. You know.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think it's pretty quick. I do think it's something that we could play at the store and do like 2 games a night probably once everybody gets like to the point where yeah, like once you know the differences and what you can and can't do, I think it'll go by super fast. I mean, we had a couple rounds where we were already in a fight and basically nobody was retreating, so we just worked out the combat because there was no shooting, there was no hero phase stuff to do, and you did fighting, and then you tallied up your points, and it was a 3-minute round, you know?
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
So, it's not really outside of Warhammer stuff, but I did want to mention that.
I heard that it's kind of, I've heard mixed reviews. You're actually the first time I've heard somebody say that it went kind of fast. Because, you know, other people are like, I don't know, it's not as fast as they say. Well, I think probably it's just because they don't know the rules and shit.
Yeah, because, like setup's different. Attacker Defender's a little different. I guess when you read through, like, how to set up a game and deployment and stuff. Yeah. But, like, if you did it once or twice, like, the next time you'll do it in a couple minutes, you know? Rather than like going through the rule book and going, oh, okay, this does this. Oh, I get to do this now, and then read this, and then, you know, it. Even the first game at our house when we played, it took us probably 2 hours. But again, it was like a lot of we were bullshitting around. We were talking with this person, that person. Bridget and her husband showed up and they were building models while we were playing, so kind of bullshitted with them a little bit. And then Matt ended up showing up later on and
nice.
Got him his objective markers, so he stayed out and hung out and you know, was shooting the shit about the game and everything. So
yeah.
What's up, Dilly?
Perfect. Del, buddy. That's my man. What's the issue, Jake?
Nothing. You
just stopped talking.
Yeah, I was checking real quick because I realized I wasn't on the multi-stream chat, but when I switched over, there was nothing here. Oh, now it's coming through. Okay, never mind. It's working now.
Okay.
I don't know. It loaded. It took a second to load, and I was nervous for a second. All right. Well, let's go into what's on your work desk, because I know you got a bunch of shit.
Yeah. So we started playing this.
There's so much shit you don't even know what to start with.
Well, there is a ton of stuff here. We started playing this week, and I started out playing with Corn because I was like, well, they're painted and they look good.
Yeah.
And I got beat up by Ethan's OBR, and then I got beat up by you using FEC. And so Corn went away. So now I've played 2 games with Slaves of Darkness. And I have won both those games. I kind of like my list a little bit more. I like their casting. I like their options as far as items and heroic abilities. And so I've been working on getting those all painted up. Let me see if I can get a little better light here.
I think mostly you like not dying.
Mostly I like not having my shit get beat up right away. And getting knocked off the table. Now, I mean, I got a little too aggressive with my bloodthirsters, so I'm probably not done with Corn. But everything I had in my list had Nurgle. because Mark of Nurgle is the best, with the exception of Abrexia and Bellacore. And I want to personally, if Mike's still in the chat, I just want to say right now that you were right. Bellacore can do a little bit more. He can do a little bit more lifting now. He survived the whole game. He beat some shit up. And I was a little bit more impressed with Bellacore than I was last edition. So early on when we were talking about the new scrolls, I had disagreed with you. I had said that I didn't think he still was that combat-y, but I was wrong. I want to be the first to say it and say that he'll be in every list that I bring from here on out. So just be ready for that.
Yeah. Bigger man Josh takes the high road and also proves that Michael Roush is always right.
Classic combination.
Yeah, I mean,
Why do you even argue?
Yeah, I mean, that's why Mike's in the Discord, so he can prove everybody wrong.
Yep, that's why we keep him around.
Speaking of which, why don't everybody join the Discord? Like, subscribe, the YouTube, the Twitter, the
Follow
Facebook.
us on Facebook.
Instagram.
We have all that shit. We're fucking super new age. We got all the things.
Yeah.
Like, is new age a thing? Is that like...
I think it's like, fucking hashtag Discord. Bro, just hit the about section, man. Fuck me. Hit the about section. There's a link in the on Twitch under the about section. I didn't make up any commands for the channel.
Yeah, because this is the worst YouTube show on the planet. So we don't fucking have that. All right, fine. We'll work on it. Dang.
Anyhow, it's easy enough to find. All of our social media links are, you click the about section here on Twitch, and they're all listed there. They all have links. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything on my work desk as per usual. I forgot. I built up, shit, man. I built up my lunchbox, or at least the Stormcast stuff. I built up the terrain, so all of it's built. I did play those. Those were the guys I did play in my first Spearhead game.
Okay.
Felt
or whatever, or the new one?
No, the new one, because I just built them, so I wanted to feel them out. During our game, let me tell you this. I played a guy that brought the rats.
Okay.
His turn one was walk forward, stand on circles.
As one does.
My first turn was walk forward, blow up rats. So I killed half of his warp lightning cannon, both packs of his clan rats completely off the table, and I was also in combat with his general, which was half dead. So after my turn one, going into turn two, he had half of a cannon, half of a general, and 6 storm fiends left.
I don't know how many times we got to have the conversation about letting the rookies win.
Oh, it was a tie at the end. Because fucking Spearhead. Yeah, because Spearhead, you're allowed to bring the units back. Like the returning ones or whatever.
Yeah.
So because I full send my army, I was like, I'm just going to go over there and smash the shit out of them. So I did, and then I was across the board because it's so short, right? Then he plopped both of his clan rats back down on my home objectives on his next turn.
Okay.
And then he moved his storm fiends in and tied me up in combat, so I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go back there and fight him off the objectives without attacking the storm fiends first, and those things are tough as balls. So it was one of those things oh shit, I had this game won. Fuck, no I don't. What do I do now? And then it was just fight back and forth the rest of the game. So
Wait, there's Storm Fiends or are they Rat Ogres you're talking about?
Storm Fiends. He brought the there's two versions of Rat Spearhead.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's the old one that comes with
Got it.
three Storm Fiends, two Clan Rats, a Grey Seer, and a Warp Lightning Cannon.
Okay, I didn't
And
realize.
then there's
Okay,
the new stuff that comes in a launch box.
I see. Okay.
So
Nice.
anyway, it was a fun game, and it ended up exactly tying at the end once we tallied up the points for all the rounds. So
Fantastic.
I do think that Spearhead's going to be way closer scoring because you just have your battle tactic cards, which give you just bonus points, and then you get bonus points for the what do they call it? The twist
Yeah.
cards. So sometimes you just score a lot of points, and then sometimes you don't, and then really weirdly, it ends up being really close at the end, no matter how the game went. As far as my experience goes so far,
With exactly one game.
technically 2 games. I tried to teach my niece yesterday.
Really?
Went down to my mom's, and I guess my sister said she was a little interested in like fantasy type stuff.
Okay.
So I brought the game over there and was like, "Hey, if you want to like try to play this game, we can try it out." And she was okay. She's 11 or 12, so she seemed to keep her interest, and we played a full game.
Okay.
And then she ended up winning by 1 point at the end.
In for
So
life.
I mean, like,
Sucked in for life.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like when we just really did the combat, we didn't do much of the other stuff other than like scoring the objective cards.
Sure.
But even at that, it was like Stormcast kind of killy, and I played the Feck version, and they don't really live that well.
The Feck version, you mean against
Of
your
Spearhead.
niece?
Yeah. So I let her play the Stormcast. I played Feck. Feck only has one unit that can come back on the board, and they're not tough because they're a 6-up save already, base. So
Yeah.
they kind of suck. But other than that, it's a fun game. It's quick. Like I said, I think it's good for playing at a store. You can get a couple games in. So I told the guys before, like, we could probably run a game, and then switch it up and switch partners and play a second game on Thursdays
Sure.
if that's what they want to
We
do.
could definitely do like Thursday night. Just for fun, like every once in a while on Thursdays,
Yeah.
just play Spearhead.
Yep.
Just in case it like takes off and you need to be able to play in a Spearhead tournament on a Friday night or something.
Yeah. But the only other thing I would say to that is, at least this upcoming Thursday, Nick and I are going to try to get a 4.0 game in the store, just because we're coming up to Lansing on the weekend.
Yeah.
So
He hasn't played yet.
nope. He was going to come this Thursday, but he ended up not being able to. So this next Thursday coming up, we're going to have to get him a game in at least. He's classic for getting one test game in and then going to a tournament. So
Yeah, but I mean, he at least at that point had been playing for a little bit. Like he'll test a list one time, but I mean, he knew how to play. Now it's it's not completely.
yeah, it's
different.
not completely different, but he's still going to have to, like, his army's changed quite a bit because he doesn't have the wheel and the disease works different. But
Yeah, there's going to be a lot for him. He's going to be slow.
yeah. So I'll try to rush him through a game, and then I guess we'll be up in Lansing.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lansing, we got some recent events to talk about.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, a couple of the recent events that are happening this weekend, as of right now. We have number one, probably the biggest tournament this weekend, is the Tacoma Open out in Seattle.
Yep. Okay.
I think there's 84 players registered for that tournament.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so pretty big. I wonder if I can. I can probably. Let me try to
Yeah,
do
share
this.
screen.
Yeah, let me try it. I probably should to be like a professional.
We're known for our professionalism.
Hey, does that work? All right. I guess this kind of works. All right. So, we have. I can't see it on the small screen, but we got the Tacoma Open. As of right now,
Oh, there it is.
I don't know how. I don't know how they're doing it because they've already played 6 games. I'm assuming it's over. They probably played.
I bet it's a 3-day, 6
Think
days, and
so?
then a top 8, maybe.
Well, that could be. It could be. They could be doing a top 8 today. But as it stands right now, we have 4 players that are 6-0. We have Matthias with his Slanesh. That's kind of that's a surprise. Slanesh being.
I don't know. I think that the War Scrolls are so good that the rules sucking don't matter.
Yeah, is that okay?
Maybe it could be because the War Scrolls were good. Remember? I mean, when we went over them.
Yeah, but the allegiance abilities and stuff were pretty shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we got a new follower.
Okay.
Dos Ex Mach. Oh, so what is it? Dos Ex Machinito.
Okay. Welcome
All
to the
right.
squad, Dose.
Thanks for the follow, man. All right. And next up, we got Le Thomas Guan.
Yeah. Playing Jeff.
Okay. Maquito, like the coffee. Got it. Dos Ex Maquito. Macajito. Yeah.
I like
It's
it.
cool, man. We're some dumb Americans. I don't know.
I mean, he might be American. He could be like,
Oh, that's true. It's true. Well, let's do this. Let's pause and give Dos a chance to tell us where he's from. How about that? Just got into 40K, but have been checking out Age of Sigmar. Yeah, man. I'd probably just dump 40K.
yeah, we don't really. I mean, I have like 6 or 7 armies for 40K, but I don't think I've played any of them.
I guess I have technically half an army.
See, the man lives in North Carolina.
Oh well, shit. Fuck. What do I know? Okay. All right. Cool, man. Deceiving with the name, I guess. I don't know.
Wow. So,
If it were me, I'd
anyways,
dump it.
yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, so-
we just don't play 40K. So come play AoS with us, is what he's just trying to say.
Yeah, that's
Just
what I'm
to
saying.
say,
Like we could play on TTS for sure. You could come to some tournaments we're playing in. You could meet up, have dinner, all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, we like to do all that shit.
Yeah, that's the best part, man. Anyway, we're sorry. That was the small what am I trying to say now?
Nobody fucking knows. Intermission.
Intermission. Ah, shit, you got me. It was right there. It was right there. I couldn't get it out.
That was the
All right.
worst.
Anyways, second place, Thomas Guan with the Soul Blight Gravelords. Clearly, it's not the Avangori Dynasty.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Let's see what he's running. He is running Manfred, as one does, I guess.
Yeah.
A reinforced unit
he's
of Black
fucking
Knights, a reinforced unit of Graveguard, Belladam of
trash.
Olga,
ridiculous.
Direwolves,
Yeah.
Torgillus,
Okay, so
And
basically
the
just
necromancer,
direwolves instead of
yeah,
zombies.
necromancer and direwolves. Okay, so he's got 30 direwolves. He's got Belladama that she can bring on 10, right, by herself.
I don't know if she
Is
still
that
has
the
that
one
role.
that does that?
Probably. She did before. I don't know if she
And
still
then
does.
Torgillus probably is just there for recursion.
He lets you bring in to do your army ability to bring models back a
Yeah,
second time.
so that's just pumping. Well, probably you can bring the Black Knights doing that back, right? Because
You can bring Black
they're death
Knights or the
rattle.
Wolves. Yeah,
The wolves have
and the
dead walker or something keyword.
yeah, they're Death
Mm,
Walkers. They're basically zombie dogs. And so like he can bring those back at 2 wounds apiece. He's got the Grave Guard at 1 wound apiece. I don't know how many wounds the horses are, but they're like 3 wounds probably. And some people have said those horses, those Black Knights, are the best unit, on death unit right now. I don't know. I mean, obviously, Grave Guard are always really good, but
well,
I
I
mean,
think
in Tom's hands, it doesn't really matter, right? Like he just
yeah,
wins
I'm
anyways.
pretty sure. Yeah, that's probably accurate. Um, but Mike might have something to say about what the best cavalry is, since he's running like 30 Death Riders.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just goes to show you. I
But
don't know
other
what it goes to show you, but it shows you.
currently in third place, they have Mason Knox playing his Night Haunt, and
Yeah, I'm
then
impressed with all the night haunts. I think you showed me a tournament. It might have been this one. There's like 3 or 4 in the top 5.
yeah, I think it was either this one or the one Mike's playing in. I can't remember, but yeah, there was like it was like Night Haunt, Night Haunt, Night Haunt. I was like Jesus. And then we got Bryce Copen with a Seraphon list, rounding out the unbeatens. So that seems pretty good.
Yeah,
Now I don't, like I said, we don't know if that's they're playing a what do you call it? Top 8
top
round
8 cut.
today, so we'll have to see. We can stay tuned on that, I guess.
Yeah.
Next event we wanted to talk about is the one that's the Swaggy Shadow Sword is in. What's up, Mike? Yeah, Hex Wraiths seem pretty good too, I think. I think this might be like the addition for Cav until they get some point adjustments, at least,
Yeah, until they
anyway.
nerf the shit out of it.
So as we stand right now, time is at 8:30. Yeah, so they haven't. I'm sure they haven't started the third round yet or fourth round.
Yeah.
So right now, Mike's playing out in basically Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he's in a tournament. How many players are in this one? Looks like 33.
Okay.
33 players out there. And currently in first place is Hunter Hoper with Ogre Maltribes. I heard there was a list of just like spamming gluttons. I don't know.
I heard about that too.
Yeah.
I heard about that too.
In second place currently is Ben Close with his LRL. I've heard a lot of people talking big things about LRL right now too.
Big things like they're good or like they're bad.
Like, oh yeah, like they're good, yeah.
Oh wow.
So I wonder.
I think everything's good right now.
Well, it's probably everything that has Cav is probably pretty decent, I would guess.
Yeah, I don't know if they're.
That seems like a common theme in a lot of the good lists, anyway.
Yeah.
We got our own Michael Roush with his OBR in third currently. And then Roger Baker with Daughters of Cain in fourth place.
I'd like
so
to
good
know what
luck.
list he's running.
Oh, you want to see it?
No, we don't have to right now. I'll look at it later.
Okay.
Unless you want to take time to look at the fourth place list. I haven't thought about my daughters yet and what I want to run with them. So, it's like, I'd like to see what other people are bringing to start.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's got Marathi, I guarantee it. That's all you really need to know.
All right. Well, that is the Grimnir's Vengeance 2024. I'll keep an eye on that one today because we want to see how our buddy Mike does. Don't fuck it up, Mike. Don't fuck it up.
Garrett
Oh,
left the chat.
did he?
Yeah, that motherfucker.
He's fucking stopping for 2 fucking seconds, like he's got a tournament to try to win. And then the upcoming events that we need to talk about.
Well, you didn't. Did we talk about Clay's event? Won by Mr.
Oh,
John Anderson.
shit. I forgot. That's my bad.
They had a one day, right?
Yeah.
Down in
What
Kentucky.
is? I can't remember what it's called. Trash.
Actual trash wargaming. I don't know.
There you go. July 20th. Looks like they had 14 players. And this one was won by Mr. John Anderson. Another
Yes,
friend
sir.
of the club here. He brought his wife's night haunt. I still can't believe that she let him use her models, but whatever. I mean, go ahead, John. Use the most egregious shit in the game at the moment, if you like. Hopefully he doesn't hear that because I don't need another ass beaten by him. Mike's still in the chat. Mike is in the YouTube chat.
YouTube chat.
Yeah.
Oh, snuck it in on me. My bad. That's my bad. Here I am talking shit.
Yeah, talking shit. But yeah, so John won the tournament being undefeated, 3-0. And then Skylar from Actual Trash Wargaming actually finished second with a Stormcast list.
Oh wow.
So yeah. So kind of fun there.
So we're seeing a lot of different shit at the beginning of fourth, doing real well. I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be eventually, top armies and bottom armies. But what are the odds that they fucking made a game that's completely balanced right off the get?
Well, I tell you, it won't be completely balanced because there does seem to see it seems to be a bit of a meta farming around cav heavy lists.
Yeah.
So who knows? Just because like some armies have better cav and some armies don't really have cav to speak of. We'll see how that plays out, I suppose. Yeah. Although Night Haunt doesn't necessarily have cav, but their whole army is ethereal, and they
ignore all the new rules.
Retreat and charge and don't take damage and all fly.
And they don't take run.
Yeah.
Well, flying means they lose all of the rules for terrain, though, right?
Yeah, but it probably doesn't matter. I mean, they don't need cover if they're ethereal anyways, right?
Yeah, I suppose that's true. You can't get cover from when you're ethereal, so never mind.
Yeah, so who cares? They're fine. But on to upcoming events. So upcoming events, we really only care about one because we're biased, and we run it. So the OMG August RTT at Our House Games coming up.
Yep.
In just about a month and a couple days. So if you're out there...
August 24th, I think, right?
August 24, yeah. So if you're out there and you want to play, sign up. Sign up on BCP.
Yep, we have a few slots left. Nobody from our squad has signed up yet either. So we are going to have some holes filled if we don't fill with outsiders. But I know I want to get Ethan into it because he doesn't get to play in a lot of events, and I just haven't yet. And then, I mean, obviously, if the opportunity arises, I'll play, and then you will always fill gaps too.
I'll fill gap if we need to. We do have, as of recording this, we have 6 spots left out of the 20. But like Josh was saying, we hadn't had any of our teammates sign up yet just because we wanted to give some time for everybody else to get a chance to get a ticket. Ticket's $30. And There also will be pizza provided through the store for an extra $5 paid at the store the day of. That actually turned out pretty good last time. It gave everybody a chance to just kind of not disperse during lunch break and just sit around, have some pizza and bullshit about stuff. So that was fun.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
So if you'd like to sign up, let's sign up. Like I said, Josh is going to get Ethan in. So that's one seat gone. I think Mike was talking to Luke and Rick. And as far as I understand, that they both want to play too. So there might be 3 seats total gone. So there might only be 3 remaining for anybody else. So, get your tickets because when they're gone, they're gone.
And it is that hot. Well, when they're gone and nobody drops, they're gone.
Yeah. Well, and to that point too, you can always email us or send us a message on the Discord if there is a full tournament. We can get a wait list going in case we do have a drop. But yeah, I would say the first tournament we ran was a much success.
Much success.
And we look forward to running more and more of these coming up in the future.
You'll see.
Which brings us to our next point. I know I made a couple posts about it, but our actual GT that we're going to run in February, the dates are actually set now. I don't know if I mentioned that last show or not, but February 22nd and 23rd. We're going to do a GT. The venue's located in Carlton, Michigan, which we will have the details on soon. I plan on having the player pack wrote up probably this upcoming week. That way I can get the information out on BCP start of August. So we can start advertising and selling some tickets for that. We got some big plans. We got some big plans for that tournament. So hopefully we can fill that out. I'd like to get 40 players in there, which I don't think is a big problem with the amount of player base we have around us. So should be a great time.
Yep, a lot of good names there. Hopefully.
Yep.
Had a lot of pre-commitments. I feel like so.
Yeah, I think for the most part, we can get the decent amount of skilled players from our region to come, and then hopefully, some more from the surrounding states, which would be fantastic.
That'd be amazing.
All right, thanks for the follow. We have one more follow on Twitch. Gamer Granny. What's up, Gamer Granny?
I love Gamer Granny.
Welcome to the show.
She is. Thor the Mighty back in the chat also. Hasn't said anything, but he's back in.
He's incognito, ninja style.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
All right. Okay. So, So what we need to do right now, though, before we get into the main topic, we do need to thank sponsors. I did get confirmation from Andy and Michelle that they will again sponsor our RTT in August here.
Very nice. I love that for us.
So,
for you guys.
FYI, I don't know I guess I can talk about it. I'd like to have the product in my hand usually before I start telling people what kind of prizes we got. So I won't exactly say what it is, but from the conversations I've had with Andy, it's going to be better prize support than last time.
Oh, nice.
So it's actually surprised me with the stuff that he said he was going to give us for that. So fingers crossed that comes through. And like I said, I got to get the stuff from him first, and then I can officially say that we have it. But it'll be.
You told me this yet.
Yeah, it'll be worthwhile. Let me tell you that. Also, Michelle had a conversation with her Friday. She wants to sponsor again too. So I'm sure she will put together a package and send up. I'm assuming similar to stuff that she sent last time, between the stickers and objective markers and things like that. So that's very cool of her.
Yeah, and I want to make sure you guys get on and like check out her Etsy shop. Check out it's Tree Fits Treasures, right?
Yep.
T Fritz Treasures, and then
Oh yeah, I forgot to even mention Andy from Gray Matter Gaming or Gray Matter
Gaming. So
Gray Matter Games. Sorry.
make sure you get on there, and if they have a where'd you hear of us from?
Yeah.
Let them know it was us. Let them know. That way they keep giving us some sweet prices.
Oh,
The more people that buy stuff from them.
I guess I will say this too. I do have a product to show everybody that we recently received.
Yeah.
From Andy.
Oh yeah. This is the same as the last time. It gets blurry. It's put it right against your face. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, we had those made up for our team.
Yep. The OMG,
OMG
objective markers.
Objective markers. We
4.0
used them in our first game, and they are fucking cool.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
They're nice.
They look great on the table, and I don't care what Tim says. They don't have to be clear. These look fantastic with our logo on them.
Buttes. That's a butte, Clark.
Yep, that's a butte. But yeah, those were made up by Gray Matter Games. So they do custom work also. If you guys would like to get some stuff for your club or themed around a tournament even or whatever, Andy can do pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah, I plan on getting some of them measuring sticks for Michelle.
Yeah, I think those will be super helpful.
Yet, but those are really cool. So that's very high on my list for 4.0 to get a set of those. I know that Nick picked one up, and they're pretty sharp.
I gave her a suggestion I seen on Twitter last week sometime that somebody made out of the same material that they make the measuring sticks from. They made terrain tokens or whatever that said obscuring or area terrain or place of power, blah blah blah. And then underneath it said what it was. It give you cover, give you.
Oh, so are they like a bigger?
Yeah, it's like a nameplate kind of thing, where they were like a little bit longer, but you can set it out next to the train so you don't forget.
Yeah.
You know which things does what stuff. I thought that was pretty fantastic, and you could just make them all on a plate, like she does the measuring sticks, and just have a set of them.
Yeah, and they just come in a little case thing like her sticks do. Yeah.
So she may end up
that a lot.
She may end up doing that down the road, but she really liked the idea. So anyway,
I'd like
more things to come.
For Slaves to Darkness, for all the Eye of the Gods that I get, because the eyes.
Oh yeah.
They love me.
You need something to be able
to
keep track of all the buffs, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and so I was thinking I would get some little dry erase things, but if I could find some tokens, that'd be just better. Because I like it. I think it seems cooler. I'll eventually just make them all out of poker chips like we do.
Yeah.
But I mean, if somebody had some for sale, I would definitely consider that instead. Michelle, just saying.
You heard it. You heard it. Product. More money. All right. Let's get into the main topic.
Which we've kind of already been talking about.
Slightly, yeah. But the main topic today, like we said earlier, is our first impressions on 4th edition AoS.
Yep.
I guess we can include Spearhead into that. I mean, I know you haven't played a game yet, but I'll give a little spiel again about that real quick, and we'll get it out of the way.
Okay.
Spearhead is a fast game. Okay, that's number one. It's faster. You don't play with anything but core rules, and even some of the core rules, like spending your CP on commands, is not a thing. if you have like heroes that are wizards or priests, since there's no spellcasting per se in the game with the spellcasting module of rules, the actual ability is on the war scroll. And you just roll the dice, and if you're successful, you're successful. So it makes the hero phase go by real fast.
Okay.
And
Sounds like there's almost nothing to do in the hero phase.
yeah, I mean, if you have a hero that has an ability, there is something, or if you have like an army ability that allows you to do something. But basically, you're just doing like a couple of things real fast, and then sometimes, like what happened in some of our games, Stormcast has a priest, and you have to be within 12 inches of an enemy, and
Okay.
you might not be in the first 2 turns, so you just don't get to do the thing. You know what I mean? So you just skip.
Sure.
So, so after playing 2 games of Spearhead, it just feels like, all in all, it's a faster paced game. I think it's a game you can play a couple rounds of it, or a couple games of it, I should say, in the same amount of time you can play one AoS game. So, in theory, like if you're playing at a game store, you could probably get 2 games in a night rather than just one.
Okay.
But I do think it's nice. It's important for new players because you'll start to feel like you get in the flow of the game down, since it happens quickly and it's repetitive in a sense that like you don't have to wait like 30-40 minutes for your opponent to be done with all their stuff on their turn, and then you forget like, oh shit, I should have done this on my turn. It's like, I did all my stuff, you did all your stuff, okay, and now I'm doing mine again. So it's almost like a rinse and repeat kind of quicker thing.
Yeah.
Because even when I played my niece, I mean, like I said, she's 11 or 12, and by the 3rd round, she was already like, and this is someone that's
She
never
understood it,
never
huh?
played this kind of game before, ever. And by the 3rd round, I was just asking her what her guys did, and she'd look it up on the war scroll. She told me what it did, and I helped her a little bit with like, okay, now roll that many dice and whatever. But the last couple rounds were real easy for her, it seemed like. So
Yeah.
to me, that already tells me that new players could catch on to this pretty quickly, and it could be fun for them.
And all you need is a box.
Yeah, and all you need is a box, Spearhead or a Vanguard box.
Well,
all
and
the-
some glue. And some
well,
clippers. And
I
a
mean,
knife.
yeah, sure.
And some paint.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
the
kidding.
hook. That's the hook, line, and sinker of
Yeah.
mini wargaming. But yeah, I don't think it's that expensive to get into, and they're fun, faster paced games. And especially if you're, you got a local store and you want to try to get into AoS, I think I'd start there as a new player. Get yourself a box of any one of the armies that you like.
So Dos Ex,
Yeah,
that's the move.
easy, man. But yeah, hit up your local store, play somebody in Spearhead a few times, and if you don't like it, then it's not that much money that you're out, really. But if it's something that you feel like it's worthwhile to continue to play, you can always build up that army into a 2,000 point army for playing regular AoS. And after you learn like the Spearhead core rules, I mean, it's pretty easy to add on other rule sets for the more advanced play.
Yeah, a couple things change
Yeah.
in the gameplay, but for the most part, it's the same main rules, and it's
But you get the gist of it, You
Smooth
get the
transition.
whole like phases of the game, what you do in those phases, and how you move your characters around and stuff. So, how you score points, you learn in Spearhead. Standing on circles and making sure your opponent's not there. But I think all in all, that's my spiel. I think it's a good starter game for new players. I also think it could be fun to play at a store on a weeknight, you know, where you can play a couple games versus two different people.
Yeah, the event that they had at the Toledo Game Room was pretty sweet. They might have had 16 people there, like two big games, and then the rest of them were all just playing Spearhead and just moving between, like playing. Hey, you want a game? Okay, and
Right.
like moving person to person. And some people were there for a long time. A couple of people were only there for one game and then kind of hung out or whatever. And it seemed like everybody was having a nice time playing the game. So I am definitely interested in getting a game of Spearhead in, just so I can try it myself.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen at your house because we're not going to do that. But like on a Thursday, when I'm in town, finally, I will definitely be down to try some Spearhead.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it'll be cool. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like for us competitive players that we try to cater to on the show here, and like how we like to play ourselves. Like you said, it might be just a Thursday night thing at the store to try out. Or if there's new players that are showing up to the store, we can show them that version of the game and blah blah blah, right?
Right.
But what are our first takeaways and impressions from playing 4th edition games? That's what we're here to talk about.
Let's do it.
So,
So
what would you like to initially start with?
let's talk about the box set. The initial thoughts on the core set that just came out. What comes in it? I really like. I mean, you're not going to use the Skaven half. You're going to get rid of that, which is fine. I like both halves. Of course, I'm a collector more than you are, so I have them all. I'm like, it's like Pokemon to me. Really though, I just think like the models look really great, but besides that, they came out with literally everything you need in that box to play the game, and everything else is free online. You're getting all your points for free online. You're
Yep.
getting all your war scrolls for free online. It's an index edition, and that's how they do it. But you get the rules for the game. You get the rules for Spearhead. You get the rules for all the terrain and the boards you need for Spearhead. You get 2 Spearhead armies, right? And
Yep.
then what's the other thing you get? Oh yeah, the GHB. So you
Oh yeah.
literally get
Yep.
everything you need to start playing the game. I mean, I really like the box set that they came out with this time. I have 2, and I think that it was a good value.
Yeah.
Not that their box sets always are pretty good value, but
This
by
was
the end of the
by far the
edition,
best.
yeah, by far. By the end of the edition, like the one from last edition with Unestra and
Yeah, the
I don't
Dominion
remember
box.
yeah, that's going for. I've seen it at the store for $109.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So
Now, I mean, like some of that stuff that came in that box is getting squatted, right? The sequiturs and stuff or whatever that came in there.
did Sequiturs
Or do
come in
they?
that one?
I don't know. Actually, I might have misspoke. I think I
Sequiturs came
misspoke.
against the Night Haunt.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it was against it's Unestra versus the Weird
Cruel
Orcs,
Boys.
Cool
Yeah.
Boys. Yeah, and all that stuff I think is sticking around.
Yep. Yeah, I
It
misspoke.
was the edition before that got squatted.
But yeah, even that box at
It is what it
$100
is.
is fantastic.
Well, yeah, I mean a fucking one Spearhead right now is over $100, just over, but it's still $100.
Yeah.
That box comes with two Spearheads.
Yeah.
That's a no brainer. I already have 2 of them, or I'd buy it.
Yeah, so I think right. So Launchbox has a lot of value, even if you're not into one of the armies that come in it. I still think the value is there to make a purchase, and then piece out some of the stuff you don't want.
You could do that. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen
Eventually they'll come out with everything else.
like the core rulebook and the well, actually, I've seen this core rulebook selling on its own for $60. I've seen
about
all
right.
the Spearhead package selling for about $100, I think.
Wow.
And then the Stormcast half was over $100 pieced out, and I think the Skaven half was like 120-ish. And these are all things you can look up on eBay. But like if you tallied all that up, I mean you're over the MSRP value by far. So I think it's a good deal to get. And like I said, you can like what I'm gonna do. Like I'm gonna get rid of the rat half and try to pick up another Stormcast half because I just don't have a rat army and it doesn't make sense
Yeah.
to keep them.
Sure.
So
Don't
you
talk
could
about
always do stuff like that. Well, sidebar, Clay's playing
always makes
Stormcast.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Yeah, I think he
But
had it ready to roll though.
yeah, so anyway, the value of the box is fantastic. You get a ton of miniatures, which is the highest value for anybody. And you get both the books, one for Spearhead and the core rule book for AoS. I think just in that alone is good enough. You do get a couple pieces of terrain, which are pretty decent. I do like the walls, especially for AoS.
Yeah, they're just
The
walls.
little scatter pieces or whatever, but the walls are cool. But yeah, if you're interested and you're trying to maximize value, the launch box is the way to go.
And if you want to play, especially if you want to play one of those two armies. If those aren't your army, what are you going to play, Dose? What are you looking at?
Yeah, that's a good question too. If you've looked at it, I'm sure you've had a few armies in mind.
You're a Space Marine guy, then you're probably
He's playing Stormcast. He's playing Stormcast,
guy,
and that's
and
fine.
Stormcasts are fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean everyone loves the Sylvaneth models.
Yeah,
fucking
they are
sexy.
cool. They are
They're
freaking
sweet.
cool.
Yeah, I mean it's one of my favorite armies that I've never played in a tournament. I mean it's yeah, no, and that's why I have them all.
Yep.
I mean that's exactly right. That's why I eventually just buy everything because I like it all.
I think that's the crux of being a mini war gamer is like you start collecting some stuff and you go, okay, I like this army because of the way it looks, right? That's how you start collecting, and then you go, well, you've played the game for a little while, and you go, well, however, I do like this army that I started with. This other army I'm interested in. One, because they kind of look cool, but they're supposed to be pretty strong. So I think I might start collecting that army. And then you collect that army. And then that happens again. And it happens again. And it happens again. And then before you know it, you own all 25 armies like Josh does. And then you still can't decide on what the fuck to play.
And so I just paint this stuff, and then later I'll paint those orcs over there, and then I got fucking 23 other armies at home that I'll work on, and eventually I'll have it all done and painted.
Yeah, that's about right. That's how it goes. But yeah, it's like the inevitable thing that happens in wargaming is just you just want to try this or you want to try that and go down the rabbit hole.
Yep.
But outside the launch box and what comes in it, I think we've played a couple games, right?
I've played 4 and you've played 2.
Yes.
Unless you've played some sneaky ones.
Nope, no sneaky games. Did have a chance to play on TTS late night with Fred, but I got too damn tired because he wanted to start at about midnight or so. And I think that was like right after the 2 days you came over.
Yeah,
and I couldn't do it.
Left about 4 or 5 in the morning. Yeah.
So, I think the game runs smoother for the most part now. I think mainly because of how the interaction between the players work, because there's nothing anymore that you kind of have to pay attention to and interrupt your opponent during the optimal moment for you to do like a redeploy. Or if you did have the ability to countercharge, then you would go ahead and like kind of sneak it in when it was like the opportune time. So I do like the fact that the active player does all of their abilities in a phase, and then the non-active player does all of their abilities if they have any in that phase, and then phase over, right?
Kind of. I mean, the fight phase is a little different, but yeah.
Yeah, the fight phase, you do your abilities prior to fighting, but for the most part, like, one person does all their abilities, the second person does all theirs without, anything triggering, like, you know how a redeploy used to be, if you move within 9 inches of a unit, then you could redeploy that particular unit, blah, blah, blah.
Right. And you got to decide, are you going to move another one close? Do you want to redeploy from both of them? Yeah, not a thing.
So I think it takes a lot of that, like, guesswork out of during the phase, and then afterwards, you may choose not to redeploy or redeploy something else or move closer or whatever, so I think they made that a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah.
It didn't feel clunky at all, like.
No, I think that my first game against Ethan was a little bit slow because we were kind of looking a lot of stuff up. And then I played you, and we were slow because you were kind of looking a lot of stuff up.
Yeah.
But then by the time we got to me and Ethan's second game, pretty smooth. And by the time I played you in our second game, I felt like that went a lot more smooth as well.
Yeah.
We had to look way less stuff up. And so, yeah, I think.
Yeah, but I think other than that, though, but like when you start a new edition with a full rewrite of rules, you have to look some things up. You have to figure out how to do it for the first time, because it's different from the previous version of the game. And so you want to get stuff done correctly in order to move forward, so you're not playing it wrong for months and then go to a tournament and realize, oh, fuck, I've been doing this wrong the whole time.
Somebody drops something on you, like, what?
Yeah. So it is important to take your time and go through some of the rules, interactions, and making sure you're doing it right. But you can already see, like we can see down the tunnel, like, this is going to be a faster type of game.
Yeah. Nick may finish all his games.
100% will not.
I agree.
100p. Well, 100p. He will talk out rounds. I guarantee.
Yeah. 100p.
But he did say that he's super excited to get back into the flow of things too. So
he's been he took a little more time than we even did off, I feel like. But we played a few other different games and messed around with some other stuff, which was fine. But now we're back in, all in.
Locked in 4.0, baby. But yeah, anyways, like I said, I think for the most part it's going to go smoother. It's going to go a little quicker in games. The real big thing, I would say this, I guess the real big thing that everyone's kind of talking about and the biggest impact on games is how the manifestations work, how they're included in all the armies. It really does feel bad when you're writing a list and you don't have a wizard, because
that's my biggest thing about Khorne.
Yeah, you already know that you're just not bringing a manifestation lore because you can't cast one if you don't have a wizard.
Well, you can pray. There's prayers, but
if an army has priest, but it's harder to get a prayer off now than it is a spell cast. So there's that, I guess. But if you don't have a wizard or two, you're playing from behind the 8 ball. I mean, you're just at a disadvantage, I would say.
Yeah, and like Rob from Honest Wargamer says, he's been talking. I've been watching some of his army breakdowns, and I'll tell you, you need a 2-cast wizard.
Yeah.
You don't need a wizard. You need a 2-cast wizard, because they're going to be able to cast one of their spells and, put out a manifestation, or even,
Well, I've been seeing that too, and because of the way it works now is a wizard can be in control of more than one manifestation at a time. You also can cast more than one in your phase.
Yeah. Hey, Dose. Thanks for checking us out, and check out our Discord and our Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, and come back anytime.
Yeah, Dos, appreciate you hanging out, man. But yeah, so anyways, there's been a discussion that I was asking about with some people that are into the rules, and I think we played it a little bit wrong,
Yep.
or at least I was thinking it was wrong. So if you have a 2-cast wizard, you can absolutely cast 2 different manifestations in your hero
I think
phase.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think the old rules said you couldn't, but I don't think we found anywhere that you could.
So
Could not do that.
the theory behind bringing a manifestation lore, and especially getting them on the table as extra units to play with and stuff, is your 2-cast wizard cast out 2 manifestations in your hero phase, and then you use the counter spell, whatever that's called, ability in your opponent's hero phase, and you cast out a 3rd one. So you can have all 3 of a manifestation lore out on the table in front of your army in turn 1. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you get them off.
Yeah, sure. Still, but it's possible, and that's just with 1 wizard. So if you have a couple 2-cast wizards, that's even better. I think my army will benefit from that because I run 2-cast wizards.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I guess
I don't know.
Yeah, initially, yeah. That's one thing I guess I worry about a little bit. The same thing with the whole Cav meta thing that's going on. Is do they see that and they go, well, we'll let it ride for a little while so we can sell more models, or do they go, ugh, that's a little bit what we didn't expect. We didn't want that to be as impactful as it is on all the games, so we'll tone it down a bit, or I don't know. I mean, them letting you bring manifestations for free and making some of the manifestations real good, they probably shouldn't be as impactful on the game as what they currently are if they're free.
Well, and anything that you can just bring back for free is going to be, really impactful. Like, you're going to get those things out there. Someone's going to take some time with some models, roll up on those things and fight them, or waste a turn getting rid of them, and then you're going to bring them back the next turn, and it's like they did it all for nothing.
Yep.
But if you don't mess with them, you run into some potential problems too. Like that fucking wall is ridiculous.
Oh, the Gravetide you're talking about?
Yeah, Gravetide. You have to get rid of that thing. Other ones, I didn't even touch against you. I didn't care.
Yep.
Or you just go kill the wizard and they disappear too. So, I mean, but there's so many, they just add to the strategy so well. There's just so many new ways of trying to fucking figure out how the game's going to be played now. I think it's kind of fun. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, I don't say it. I'm not saying it's not fun. I enjoy it because it's something we haven't got to play with a ton, right?
Yeah.
Even before, I think the only army that really ran manifestations a lot were the high casting, Zinch, when they did that whole feed the Kron Spine with your own endless spells type of strategy. But outside of that, really,
Seraphon.
I mean, maybe Seraphon. Yeah, you probably cast portals and then cast some stuff through it when you're able to do that. But I can't think of a scenario where you even brought manifestations sometimes, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was Corn. I never did. I never brought.
You just
any
didn't want to waste the
I
points
just wanted
on
more
them.
bros.
Yeah,
I mean, you just wanted more bros, but now they're free. So you're bringing them every time, and you're casting them all the time. I mean, and it turns out, when I was playing Corn, I was casting the wrong one. I've been reading up, and I'm like, oh man, all these people are saying this is the one to use, and I've been using these other 2. So I mean, there's a lot to figure out still.
Yeah, and this
There's a lot to
start of edition, I assume like most editions are going to be like kind of like the Wild Wild West in a way where like you're going to see a ton of weird shit, different stuff, and then until people start going, oh shit, this is the way to go. Like these are the meta choices. People are going to try a lot of different things.
Well, you're going to see Tom Guan go out there and win with Wolves,
Yep.
and now Wolves are going to be hot shit,
Yeah.
and that's fine. I mean, that's how it works now with the internet. But I mean, it's a Wolf meta. But the beauty is they put something in the game right now to combat metas, and that is they put in the ability to take units that are good against different types of units. So there are units that are +1 rend against Calv.
Yep.
And so, okay, if the fucking meta is Cavalry right now, I'm going to start bringing a bunch of shit that's plus against Cavalry. And eventually, other people are going to do that, and the meta is going to shift.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm seeing a lot of lists with Corn bringing 4 Bloodthirsters and like a little bit of other shit. But their plan is 4 Bloodthirsters, punch faces. And I mean, people will then just shift them. If that becomes popular, all of a sudden, people are going to bring a bunch of anti-monster, anti-hero, and they're gonna get better shots at fucking taking that down, and it's going to end up being, a meta shift. And I think it's actually really cool. The only army in the game that's immune to that meta shift is Nighthawk, because they don't take rent.
And I think the problem with Nighthaunt right now is that the units are so cheap that you can just take a bunch of bros. Now, if the points go up, then they'll shift away from playing Nighthaunt a little bit, because like with anything, the more expensive it is, the harder it is to build out a list. Especially when you can't bring whatever units, like extra units you would have normally brought, because they might increase it enough to eliminate a whole unit from your army. Or maybe you got to make a choice now between, now I can't bring this one hero because that's what I have to eliminate out of the list to make it still functional or something. So well, that's always been kind of the standard go-to for GW anyway, as far as their balancing goes. They just tweak points. But it will be
the army tactics, which they've taken tactics kind of.
So I think that'll be interesting, right? Is like, what is there going to be? What other balancing strategy do they have other than points increases or decreases?
Yeah.
And hopefully, like you said, hopefully this is a completely balanced game from the get-go. It'll be interesting in a couple months here when Rob starts doing the stat center shows where they have enough data collected over the course of X amount of tournaments to determine, like, oh shit, hopefully we don't have somebody in the 60% plus win rate,
Yeah. We may.
But it also could be. It also could be too. Like, if it is Nighthaunt, let's take that for an example. If it is Nighthaunt that ends up being like 60+%, there's got to be a counter to Nighthaunt, right? Somewhere within the game, there's some kind of counter to every army. So if Nighthaunt gets to be really crazy, then people will build against it as much as you can, and then maybe that'll dip down.
Things that maybe give you more attacks against hordes and things like that. So you could build an army that, okay, I may not get a lot of rend, but I'm going to get a lot more dice.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, there's that possibility that Nighthaunt takes off initially and then kind of gets chopped down a little bit after that initial push.
This is only like week 1 of tournaments, So honestly, I mean, we're talking up Nighthaunt because we've seen him in the top,
Yeah.
5 of a couple tournaments. But I mean, they were really good players that were playing them. They could be just, and they did just win like worlds or whatever. So I mean, they could come back down to earth.
Yeah.
You know.
Sure. Yeah, and I do think there's a little bit of that. The top players in the world kind of gravitate toward the strongest armies, because that's what they do. They're out there to win games, and to win games more consistently, you play the better armies. I guess unless maybe you're Tom Guan, that seems like no matter what he touches, kind of wins games, which is strange, but kudos to him for knowing how to play AoS better than everybody else. But there are a few people too. There's not just him. Top players in the world, I think, are just top players, regardless of the army. But I would venture to say if you're a top player in the world and you have the ability to play a strong army versus a weaker army, you're going to play the stronger army.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to prove some kind of point. By taking a shit army and winning with it, because some people try to do that too.
Chester does that. Like he'll let his people on his YouTube channel tell him what army to play, and then he'll play it, and he wins.
Yeah.
So he's planning on learning to play some Age of Sigmar here too. So maybe we'll get him on the team.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be fun.
Yeah. That's the plan. When I go home, I'm gonna at least try to hook up with him at least one night and get him rolling some dice. So
very fun. Other than manifestations and outside of the Nighthaunt popularity, is there anything else that you see in the game right now that you like or dislike?
Let's talk about another dislike.
Okay.
I don't like the app.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like the old style app where you could just kind of go through it and look at your fucking army. You didn't have to open a bunch of screens to see stuff. It was all just pretty plain and simple. You could just look at war scrolls. You could kind of do that in this edition, but you have to like exit your army to just look at war scrolls, and you still have to open up a bunch of stuff. And I just don't like the way that they've done it. I don't know what was wrong with the last app, to be honest. They wanted it more in line with the 40K app, I think, and it is. But I mean, I think the 40K app sucks. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see some people that comment that they like the 40K app. However, what's up with all the fucking drop-down boxes?
That's my point.
Like, you literally have to click like 3 or 4 things to look at a weapon profile.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I just click my guy and just see it? That is so cumbersome. And like the second game we played, I said, "Look, I'm gonna use the app to try to play the game." Because that's what you would do at a tournament or something.
Done.
Yeah, we'd always just bring your phone, look up all your shit on your phone. Well, now it almost feels like to me like you better memorize everything,
or at least have the cards updated.
Well, yeah. Now, I did order a set of cards for Feck.
After playing a few times, I think I'm going to get some cards too.
I ordered mine prior to the app coming out, just so I'd have the cards. But I think the cards are just going to be easier.
Agreed. Yep.
Even if they're in a stack, you can flip through them faster than you can go through the app and look at the stats. So I don't know, man. I think it sucks that you got an app, especially one that you're going to end up having to pay for.
Eventually, yeah.
That's the other problem, is it's going to go back to the same way the 40K app is, and they're only going to let you create one list in the list builder portion of that unless you're subscribed to Warhammer Plus. So, yeah, that's a big That's a big negative for me too. We kind of dropped the ball on that
There'll
one.
be other apps though, like other companies or other people will put out their own apps. But I mean, it's pretty annoying.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Um, the other change, I guess, that I would say is the objective sizes being smaller. Um,
Wait, is this something you like or dislike, or am I
well,
about to find out?
I'm trying to decide right now. I do think I like it.
I do too.
Um, the bigger objectives were okay. I thought initially that I would not like the smaller ones. However, the smaller objectives basically means you're going to be fighting more. And I mainly play combat armies, so I don't mind that as much. I think if, like, I guess maybe if you played like KO or some other type of shooting meta army, that you might not like it as much, because before you were able to like just tow an objective, and if somebody's towed on the other side of that objective, you're basically 12 inches away from someone, right? So it
Yeah.
would take the risk of being charged down, at least for a turn, whatever. But now you're only going to be 6.5 inches away from somebody if you're standing on opposite ends of the thing. So chances are, if you're close to an objective and your opponent's close, you guys are fighting over that objective, which I think is a cool. It's thematic because the objectives are something that you're supposed to control during a war, right? But so I do think it's going to be good. I also think that having the objectives smaller, outside of just fighting your opponent, you're going to be forced to do more killing than what you would did in the previous version. Like 3.0, you could move around. You didn't even have to fight anybody. You didn't have to. You could do your battle tactics. You could stand on circles, and if your opponent didn't move into you, you didn't have to fight anybody to score maximum points. You know, there was some battle
Yeah.
tactics in some of the GHBs that kind of give you, hey, like, fight and kill this thing. But last GHB, we didn't have that even. So, yeah, I think that it'll be more engaging with the objectives being smaller. There'll be more combat or fighting over the objectives, which is cool. And I guess, like, you play 5 rounds of Warhammer, right? You would expect by round 5 that both armies suffer some casualties, so it'll feel like an actual battle happened to me, rather than going, okay, you still got like all your stuff minus a couple guys. I got all my stuff minus a couple guys, and we just tiptoed around and played strategy the whole time and didn't really fight unless we had to.
Right.
I would say objective markers being smaller, thumbs up from me.
I agree. I like the size of the new objective markers. I think they just look a little bit better on the board. I think while I also agree with you that I don't care if I can see through them, to see the fucking mat. They do still make the mat look a little cleaner by not having these massive circles all over the place.
That's true.
And it's gonna take away a little advantage that horde armies, I guess, had, or maybe it'll give a bigger advantage to horde armies. I'm not really sure. I was thinking, like you could get more horde guys on, or like horde guys could jump on despite you having it already. But I guess really, with it being smaller, horde guys could kind of cover it up, and then all of a sudden you're like, I can't even get on that thing until I take some of your models off the table.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think that's what forces the fighting, right? Because I don't know how many times before did you have like a unit of 10 dudes or 20 dudes, and then you just like barely tow with two ranks of guys around the curvature of the objective, and you put like 20 dudes on an objective, but you're not fighting nobody because you're still like 10 inches away from something.
Yeah.
Now the other opponent then can move onto the objective, charge you and try to fight you and kill you off of it. But now if you got 20 bros, you're probably moving them onto that objective in the center of it, or trying to get a screening type of arc rather than just towing it to take it.
That's
Maybe.
True. It's true.
I suppose it depends on a lot of factors, but
It's yet to be seen, but right now I like it.
yeah.
What do you think about? It seems like army sizes are smaller.
Yeah, I think for
List
the most.
construction is a lot different.
Yeah,
Army sizes are a lot smaller.
However, I do like list construction. After the initial oh shit, I can't do this because of that or whatever. I think for the most part, at least the list that I try to put together, you can still basically take as many heroes as you want and still be a fairly low drop, right?
Or all heroes.
Or that. But I don't think it's a hindrance as the way it's structured. I do like the fact that if you bring a unique war master, that has to be your general. I think that feels right? Yeah. Rather than going, okay, I'm taking Ushran, but Ushran's not the general of my army.
But this wizard is my general.
Right, yeah. It always felt weird like that, where you're just like, I'm going to take this small little dude, make him my general, because he's going to have the artifacts and stuff, and then he's going to hide in the back and never see no one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I do like the way that that's pieced together. With the points increases across the board, you don't get as many units on the table as you did before, which I guess I haven't quite figured out if that's good or not. Like, especially with my Feck army, if I reinforce anything, it feels like basically I have three troop units on the board with 4 heroes. And
yeah, but you're bringing elite units. You're not bringing.
Well, I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that aside, it feels a little bit different because when you used to be able to double reinforce a unit, then you at least knew, like, that is a giant-ass unit, and it's tough as balls. I'm okay with that. Now you can only reinforce once, so even if you bring in elites, it kind of feels like maybe those elites can get lifted in a fight. So you have to worry a little bit, I guess. And then when you can't bring as many elite units, then it feels like I don't have a lot of board presence, or at least like once I start fighting, I might lose some stuff, and then I'll be up shit's creek, kind of.
Yeah.
I guess if you had an army, like we've been using the example of Night Haunt, if you just did the MSU style Night Haunt units where you have 10 guys a unit, and you can bring 5 or 6 or 7 of those units, that might feel better on the table. But that's just like the one outlier I think of right now, that people are taking advantage of because their units are cheaper. But all in all, do I like it or do I dislike it with less models on the table? I guess I'll say this. I don't mind it, only because of manifestations.
Yeah,
Meaning,
they kind of count as extra models.
Yeah, so they're basically like free units that you put on the board. They can move blocks still. You can fight with them like units can. But they do a little bit of chip damage with most of their special abilities. So I think in that regard, it's okay to have a little bit of a smaller actual army if you can get your spells off and you can get those on the table and start moving them around. So I guess I don't mind it, is what I would say.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind it either. I do agree. It seems like I liked for corn. I used to bring a few more units, and I felt like I just had a little bit more board presence. I could do a little bit more, but I didn't hate having like one or two less dog units. With my chaos, I feel like I'm bringing a lot of units. I brought the 10-man unit of warriors. I brought a unit of 5 knights, a unit of 6 Vanguard. So that's what, 3 units plus 3 characters. Did I bring anything else?
No. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, your list
Ron's
was
fine.
kind of like mine, where it was like 3 units and a handful of heroes.
Yeah, but I brought a 10-man unit, a 6-man unit, and a 5-man unit. But my 5-man unit has a lot of staying power. It lasted a couple of rounds. My foot troop unit, you never took off the board, and you didn't even. You might have killed a couple of my Vanguard, but you didn't. You barely did shit to that. And I don't think I lost a character. So
turns out 3-up saves is pretty good.
3-up saves and Nurgle, so you're -1 to wound. I don't know how they're gonna fucking nerf it. They have to. It's too fucking good. I can't. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not winning tournaments, so maybe I'm wrong. But
yeah, I don't know.
Although I think I saw someone playing. Didn't we see on one of the tournaments that Rob talked about? Bellacore plus 3 units of Vanguard, and that was it. 1 drop.
Yeah, it was like a 6, a 6, and a 3 of Vanguard and Bellacore, and that was it. Yeah, I mean, that seems a little bit egregious. I mean, I guess with Vanguard, here's maybe what you could think about too. I know that you're kind of high on Abrexia.
Yeah.
But does bringing her for her points outweigh the fact that Vanguard basically don't die? So having your second attack strike last doesn't matter?
I think right now she's just cool, and I want to.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, you bring her to have the Vanguard fight twice without the strike last, right? That's her stick. And I know she does damage too.
And she's tough.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, if that's the reason you bring her just so the Vanguard don't have to strike last, that's probably not enough of a reason to spend that many points, especially when your Vanguard don't die.
She's most likely going to get cut from my list for a Demon Prince because, as I've said to you about 900 times, I really just want to find a place for a Demon Prince.
Yeah.
And then if I have the points, I'll add something else as well. Maybe like a unit of Furies or something like that. Just something small, just to add a little bit more. I mean, more mobility to an army that's already fucking fast as shit. I think at first I was kind of real interested in the trophy rack for the Demon Prince. I don't even know if I'll go that route for him. I may end up doing the wings just to get him just that little bit faster. Yeah, although I don't know how tough he is. That's the thing. Like, I haven't seen him in action yet, to kill anything. But being able to just put for free every turn an Eye of the Gods on a unit, you're like, oh, you have an Eye of the Gods. You have an Eye of the Gods. You have an Eye of the Gods.
Yeah.
That's fucking good.
That's going to be pretty strong, especially mid-late game when all the buffs are stacked up. It's going to be real hard to deal with you.
They're real strong. So, I mean, but I also want to mess around with the vampire counts. Like, they look really cool with Blood Knights and then like an all vampire kind of list. I know that we haven't seen that in it. Well, we haven't looked at all the lists, but we didn't really. Tom Guan's list didn't have that, and I don't know if we've seen another Soul Blight, but I think an all vampire list looks kind of fun. I mean, it kind of takes away some of your army abilities, but I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's like that's the beauty of a new edition is like it's like, oh, I want to try this. Oh, I want to try this. I mean, because there's just all kinds of cool shit you can do, and you don't know if it's good or not. So you got to fucking test it.
Yeah, and you're not necessarily handcuffed into a sub faction anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your new battle formations that kind of lean you in a direction, right? But it's not keyword locked to no one. So you can still take any units or any heroes in whatever battle formation you wish.
Yeah.
So it's just going back to list building, it just gives you a little bit more freedom to customize a list to whatever you really want to play. So I think you're right there is like there's going to be like so many people trying things out that you're going to see a lot of crazy things or a lot of pretty unique things or stuff you look at and you go, wow, I'd never even thought of that.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the excitement for, players or maybe even competitive players like us that look at people's lists from tournaments and look at how people did in tournaments, and then you go, wow, I want to apply that and try this in a tournament, and that kind of thing. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
Just fired up about it. Yeah, psyched. A lot of cool shit. And I also want to try fucking eventually my Cities of Sigmar because I've been working on getting that stuff done. I mean, there's just so many things to try.
Yeah, for sure. I just had it in my mind. I was going to talk about. Now I kind of forget now. Oh well. I was going to ask you another question, and I didn't jot it down because I thought, oh, I'll just talk about it in a minute, and then it eludes me now. But anyway, I think overall, 4.0 is going to be pretty fantastic. Without seeing the win weight percentages through the first handful of tournaments, we don't exactly know how it's going to play out as far as balance goes. But I still think it'll be pretty easily balanced. I don't know. I still think like they said basically before the edition came out that some damage has been removed from the game and also some rend. I don't exactly know how true that is.
It doesn't seem like rend has been removed. It seems like rend is still pretty hefty and saves have been removed from the game.
Yeah, I mean, without being able to put Mystic Shield on something is real strong
no stacking shit saves, no heroic abilities.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you can still save stack, but not to the degree you could do before, right? It was like
a little bit.
If your army has an ability to give a plus to save, like I could pick that if I bring Usher on, right? To have +1 save on an objective I control. Well, that's not everybody. And that's just +1 to save, right?
Right.
I don't have Mystic Shield to also put on myself. I don't have any other ways to give me a plus to save. So although save stacking exists, you can do it per the rules. There's just not a lot available to some armies to where you can just stack it up and go, okay, I can suffer through Ren 2. Right? Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, again, it's an index edition, so this initial set of rules for all the armies obviously will get changed in the coming year or two.
I'm interested to see what they do with the first few books.
Yeah.
Like how different they are from
I think that'll tell you, right? If the new book comes out and they say, here's your new Stormcast book, and all of a sudden they have ways of, like, giving themselves multiple ways to get more rend or better saves, that's just gonna be better in those two stats alone, outside of anything else, like outside of how abilities work in their army, or if they change some of the scrolls around or whatever they do. Rend and save are the two stats that you need to have some access to increasing. Modifying wounding rolls is the single best offensive ability.
I think just because it's the rarest.
Yeah, well, right. Because it's so rare, if you have a chance to give yourself a plus to wound, it's fantastic, right? Because most stuff wounds on 3s across the board. Anything that's a good fighting unit wounds on 3s already. So if you can get it to 2s, that's like the best scenario. But outside of that, I mean, if you can't save against Rend 2, you die. Because most things don't have a ward save. 25% of the game maybe has a ward save.
Well, I mean, all of depth does, and then a few other, things here and there do.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's not a lot of opportunity to save damage if you can't do your armor saves. So if there's no way to really stack up saves to combat Rend 2 or 3, which is probably common in some of the hammer units, then, you can kiss your unit goodbye.
Yeah, I feel like things going to die in this edition. I mean, even stuff that they kind of made to be a little tanky, like giving all of Corn Demon's ward saves. I mean, Scarbrand died in one turn against you.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, so even to that example, that was Rend 2 shooting. So Scarbrand, big monster with a 4-up save and a 5-up ward, couldn't suffer through 2 Rend. And it wasn't even like it wasn't. It was 6 flares.
It was bonus damage shooting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you had the bonus damage. And
I know, but I'm just saying, like, in that scenario, it worked out for me. But if I didn't get the bonus damage and I was still Rend 2 shooting, I would have still done a giant chunk of damage to him. It might not have killed him, but it might have done 10 or 12 damage instead of whatever it ended up doing.
I would have had the opportunity to rally him a little bit though, and heal.
Yeah. That was the other thing. Okay, thanks for reminding me. So that is the one thing I wanted to bring up, because we lose the heroic action to heroically heal your heroes, right?
Sure.
But we gain the ability to do healing through rally. So if you're clueless and you don't know what rally is if your guy is if your unit's not in combat, you can spend a CP, you roll 6 dice. On 4-ups, you gain rally points. All the 4-ups you can spend in 2 ways. One, you can spend on heal to a unit.
1 rally point is 1 heal.
Or you can spend the amount of rally points it takes to bring back a model. And that's whatever your model's wound or health characteristic is, that's how many rally points you need to spend to bring a model back. So in Josh's scenario where, and you did do this on Bellicor, so I did almost kill Bellicor one time.
Beat him up pretty bad.
And so he retreated. And the next 2 or 3 turns, all you did was spend a command point, did rally, roll the dice, healed Bellicor, healed Bellicor, healed Bellicor. So I guess in a sense, like before, you would only use rally to try to bring back models into a unit of dudes, right, that had suffered casualties. Now, you can decide to start healing up your big centerpiece models or your big heroes, and that's fantastic. I think you've healed Delacour all the way up, right? Or pretty damn close.
I did. I think he might have had one wound left on him, and I did the same thing against Ethan with one of my I think Scarbrand. Like he beat up Scarbrand pretty bad with some stuff, and then I just healed him. I was like, cool. I'm not in combat anymore because I blew up whatever I was fighting.
Yeah.
And then I threw a couple turns of heals on him, and boom, you get lucky a couple times, you're going to put 10 heals on him, and it's pretty strong. I mean, Rally, I think, might be the single-handed best ability now. It used to be, what was the thing that we did all the time? Get a command point. Get a command point.
Yeah.
Get a command point. Now, every turn, if you have anything damaged, you're going to spend a point on a Rally. I can't see not doing it. Especially if you're the underdog.
Yeah, the underdog is a free rally. It's just basically free. The other commands that you would maybe hold your stuff for, redeploy might be pretty impactful in games.
Yep.
I'm not sold on countercharge yet. Only because
I'm sure
it costs.
There's going to be instances where it's good, but
but it's not like that's not one of those things you're going to use every turn because it costs 2 CP, right? So the economy is tough because you're only going to get 4 CP to start a round with, maybe 5, and if your opponent's dumb, you'll have 6. So, in that
bringing in an all auxiliary army, and I don't even care.
I mean, like, just for that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I think you'll spend a CP on Rally. You'll spend a CP on redeploy. Maybe not counter charge. If you're a decent casting list, you might spend a CP on that magic innovation or whatever it's called to cast a spell in your opponent's hero phase to try to get a endless spell out. And power through. I think power through can be impactful.
Power through is going to be a good one. But you got to fucking have that command point in the end phase. I mean, it's like,
well, right. Like if you don't spend any, or try to, I guess, if your plan for some reason is like, hey, I need to save this command point because I need to like get through this unit into something else or onto an objective, or like I was trying to do against your dogs on that one objective, where I was like, you're like, oh, I'm going to screen you off, and in my mind I was like, I don't give a shit because I'm saving a CP. But yeah, I think like in those scenarios, you would use CPs for those things to score you some extra points. Or deny points maybe with the redeploy, but countercharge is going to be such a tax to do that you better.
I mean, it's extremely powerful, but
you better pick the one spot in the game, and it better work out in your favor. Or you won't be able to do the rest of your commands that you want.
You want to stop command, or you want to stop tactics with that.
Yeah.
Like if you get the opportunity to shut down somebody's tactic, that's when you're gonna probably use that.
Yeah, I guess the other scenario where maybe you would do that is it wouldn't be as impactful as denying like a tactic, but like if you had a cav unit that did +1 damage on the charge, right, and they failed their charge for whatever reason,
the turn before maybe.
Yeah, and you go, okay, well, I can't afford them to charge my unit. I have to put my unit into them first. Maybe you would do that.
Well, they're going to get to do all their charges first.
I know, that's what I'm saying. If they fail the charge roll and they're stuck in front of you.
Oh, if they failed it.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So, I mean, that might be right. I mean, that would just negate the power of their unit if you did it, if they failed for some reason. You know, they got a 5 or 6 inch charge and they rolled a 3, and then they spend a command point to reroll and they roll another 3, and you're like,
man, I'm glad that cavalry didn't get me. I'm going to get them before they can get me again.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a scenario where if you have 2 CB, you might do it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, it depends. And I don't even know if that's that strong, because if you're going next, you would just charge them.
Right.
Unless you don't know if you're going next, like if it's the bottom of a turn, and you might lose a priority roll and then you're going to get charged.
Yeah, and we've both done a lot of double turns.
Yeah, we should talk about that. That's another good point in fourth edition to bring up. I think initially everybody was kind of on the fence on whether it would be a good idea to do a double turn or not, because you suffer a loss of points. You're minus 4 points basically if you take a double turn, because you're not allowed to pick a battle tactic if you take the double turn. If you're given a double turn, it's different. You can still score. But if you personally take the double turn, you win priority, you take it. You can't score a battle tactic. However, our first game, I said, fuck it. I won the priority roll into turn 2, took the double, and turns out that it was super fantastic. Because the turn 1, I eliminated your Bloodthirster, and I took the double, and then took Scarbrand off the table. And then...
super fun.
Even though that happened, it ended up being a fairly close game, I think, right?
Because you took a double turn, though.
Right, because I took the points loss to eliminate the threats. Yeah, I think I lose that game.
I had the lead going into the 5th turn.
Yeah, I think I lose that game if I allow Scarbrand to punch me in the face and take off one of my hammer units.
Probably.
So I like. So that was our first game of AoS 4, and we said, "Fuck it, we're doing a double turn." It worked out.
Yeah, you did a double, and then I did a double.
Yeah, I think so. But I think you had to, because if you didn't, your army would have been almost lifted off, totally. So like in some scenarios, we played it both ways, I guess, right? I took the double to try to gain an advantage and be down in points, and then you took the double out of necessity for staying alive.
Yeah, I think the only time that it's going to depend on how tournaments are run. Right now, I think that tactic points are still a big part of it. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know how. I've had a few discussions with a few players about how scoring should go in tournaments, at least to start with, before there's kind of like a standard way to do it. Because 4th edition's different, right? So you have 50 total points for a game. Unlike before, it was just kind of sporadic all over the place. You could win a game scoring 15 points, whatever, depending on the mission and all that. So right now it's a standard 50, 10 a turn is max. So I don't know. There's probably enough variance in a game where either you don't score all your primary points, or maybe you don't score a tactic because 1, they're harder, or 2, you decided to take a double turn.
Yeah.
So I think overall there's probably enough variance in, like, you're not going to have like your top 4 or 5 players all scoring max 50 each game, right? You may get a 50, but I would doubt that you're going to get, like, say for our RTT, for example, I don't think you're going to have multiple guys all with 350s in a row at the top. I just don't think that's realistic. So I think like I was explaining to you before, I think the default scoring for 4th edition in the BCP app is wins, top dog, which it should be. You should win all your games. Second, followed by total victory points, which is going to weed out the ranking between 2 undefeateds if you have it. And then third is, I think, strength of schedule from opponents. That's one that I don't necessarily care for, but there's not a lot of other good options to pick from.
Well, you're going based off of how many good players you played against.
Yeah.
So if somebody played against really tough opponents, and then you played against a bunch of people at the bottom, and we're both 4-1. I mean,
The strength
you
of
played
schedule
against a
means
bunch of
something,
chumps.
right? It does mean something. It means you played versus a tougher opponent.
I almost think that that's more important than your own victory points. I think if two people are, we'll say 4-1 because it makes more sense. Two people are 4-1, but one person played against nobody and one person played against all the best players in that tournament that also went, 4-1 or 3-2. The person that played against tougher opponents might not score as many points, but they played against tougher opponents. And, I mean, there's something to be said for that as well. I mean, obviously, victory points are more important because that's just how the game works. But there's something to be said for strength of the schedule being an important thing too.
Yeah,
I
and
disagree that
I
it's
I think that strength of schedule being ranked third in their evaluation there is probably pretty good because I thought in my head when we did when we did scoring last edition, it was like some tournaments were like kept track of how many battle tactics you completed and did you get your grand strategy, and those were point value things that you added up, and if you got more battle tactics than the person that you're tied with, like 4 1s, that puts you above some people because
yeah.
you completed more of the battle tactics. I don't think I like that as much in 4th edition because it's more of a fair game across the board anyway, points wise. And not everybody's going to get all 5 battle tactics every game.
Yeah,
It's
but
just
I mean,
hard.
they're
It's
just going
just
to score
harder.
less points then. So I mean, it's going to be the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there's not a need for like a separate category for grand
Yeah,
strats
you
and
don't
battle
need to
tactics.
do
It's just points.
points and battle tactics.
Right.
Points is fine. Yeah, I agree.
So I think that's kind of the gist of the scoring. When we had some discussions about it, was basically like wins over everything else because winners win. Victory points to do a tiebreaker in case they're tied. And if you still need a third tiebreaker, then strength of schedule makes the most sense. You had
And
a
that
tougher
makes
you had a
sense
tougher
for
road, then you had a tougher road.
yeah, and that makes sense for RTTs especially. But I really think that paint should be involved, maybe.
Well,
And
if you're talking GTs,
GT,
then yeah, soft scores are going to have to be added in, and we'll have to come up with a way to do that, which we still need to discuss for our
I think
one in February.
yeah, as far as what we want to do, they're going to be like third or fourth tiebreaker probably. I mean, really, there's only one soft score anymore, anyways, and that's
paint,
painting.
yeah,
Because like there used to be best opponent and and sportsmanship and shit like that, and that's just not really a thing
well,
anymore.
I think I like. Well, there's two things, I guess. I don't like a soft score for best opponent or best sportsmanship. I think, for the most part, for all the tournaments we've been to, I don't think you get a shitty person. I just don't agree with that. I don't think you end up playing somebody and you go, "Wow, that guy was a real piece of shit." You know what I mean? Like I think
Yeah,
there's
for the
some
most part.
I think there's some games where you played bad and you didn't have a good time because you wanted to win and you just lost because of your own mistakes or something you didn't understand or whatever else, right? But it wasn't because the player was a jerk. And that's what sportsmanship is in
Yeah,
tournaments.
and I
Like,
think honestly, everyone just gives everyone max score and sportsmanship for the most part, anyways. And if they
yeah,
don't, then it's like some douche trying to fucking skew the system. And
yeah.
so you're
So
right,
I,
sportsmanship's not really a
I
thing.
don't like that. But however, I do like players voting for their best opponent type of thing, where you're like, out of my 5 games, that dude right there was the funnest fucking guy to play. I love that guy, right?
Yeah,
So I guess if there's enough of that, where everybody voted on their favorite opponent, you could do like a favorite opponent type of an award. But soft scores for sportsmanship are kind of whack. like you said, because I think for the most part across the board, no one gives anybody like not max score, because
Right.
for the
So it's
most
kind
part
of
you don't have
stupid.
shitty games.
I think it's a holdover from old fantasy. Um, you know what I was just thinking though? Like you could do victory points for best and for overall. Um, overall, still in my mind includes everything. So I mean, you almost kind of have to include paint. But let's say you don't, and you have or overall, and then basically second best general. But if you do best of a faction, paint score should be included in that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think it should be weighed heavily. I think it should be equal to. Um, so like you could do, best overall is just your best general. Best general is your second best general, which is kind of dumb. And then like for each of your best of factions or best of armies, if you broke it down that much, paint is entirely involved. Like if somebody has a fucking sweet paint job, like you'll have best painted also. But then if you have like a really fucking cool looking Nighthaunt army and a really cool looking Stormcast army and a really cool looking like, but maybe they only won 4 games, or 3 games even, but with their scores and their paint, they were above somebody else who might have won more games. I think that should get credit for the best of faction, just because I mean,
Well, you're getting into a
being cool
little bit
looking is
of you get a little bit into that weird area where if, for the example that has come up in a few tournaments that we didn't like where you got one person that's 4-1 and one person that's 3-2, okay? And both those guys are the top 2 in whatever faction they're in, right?
okay.
And if the 3-2 player has a better painted army than the 4-1 player, leapfrogging the 3-2 player above the 4-1 player for an award feels bad for the 4-1 player.
Yeah, but it's best in faction. It's not like a major award. It's like,
Yeah, still best in faction is the best played army of that faction plus the paint score.
well, then you just take paint score out of it entirely and give paint score for best painted. You can give best painted in each faction, or you can just do a best painted overall,
Now, what
and
I
then
would
just do
what I
that.
would say is this: I think paint score as a soft score is to tie break evenly record opponents.
Sure.
If you had
Fine.
2 4-1s, one good painted army and one not good painted army, then the better painted 4-1 would win the best faction award. I don't think it outweighs taking a second loss. Is what
So
I would
you
say.
think it still goes wins loss, but you eliminate victory points and add in paint score for that?
I still think the rankings are important,
Well,
but
then it doesn't matter anyways. It's like third tiebreaker, fourth tiebreaker. So I mean,
yeah, but
I think
that's only in a scenario where you have one guy's paint job is so much better than the other ones that it would negate. Like if, for example, so you have 2 4-1s. Total victory points for both of the armies are, let's say, for the sake of just doing easy math, 200 points for the guy that finished 4-1, the first guy, and 180 points, or let's say 190 points, something like that, for player number 2, right?
yep.
And they're pretty fairly close in victory points. However, whatever the paint rubric is, one guy gets 90 points out of 100, the other guy gets 40 points out of 100 or 50 points out of 100, and now you have more of a higher total score between paint and victory points, to where you get best faction over the guy that finished just barely in front of you on victory points. I think that's fair.
I'm
I
fine
don't.
with that.
I don't think that would rub anybody the wrong way, because if you go to a tournament and you finish tied with someone, same record, and you don't win best faction, and you look at your army and you look at the other person's army and you go, that dude's spent way more time painting his shit up way better than me. That's part of it. Yeah. So.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on somebody coming to a GT with an unpainted army or like half painted army or something? I don't think that they should be even eligible to win. I don't care if you win every fucking game.
Well, I think a common practice, and I don't know how much this actually does happen, but I see it a lot of player packs where it says if you have unpainted units, those units will be removed from play.
Yeah.
So in that regard, it's stated up front. It's something.
Well, and you have to have a fully painted army. It's basically what they're saying.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
For
like
GT,
if someone
for
does
GT, you don't, and that's fine.
But I don't know if like anybody comes to a GT with a non-painted army. However,
I mean, I've read a lot of things where people are like complaining. There are people that, well, in this 40K, that say they don't think painting should have anything to do with the tournament. It should be the best players, and I think that's fine for a rogue trader. But I think a GT is something bigger and better, and you should have a fucking painted army.
A GT is the ultimate showcase of your hobby.
Sure.
It's player skill in gameplay, and also hobby skill in the hobby. And you would never grow your community if you didn't require paint. You would because if you didn't require paint, everybody would.
GT.
Yeah, well, everyone would show up with unpainted stuff, whether it's like a unit here or there, or just random things, or maybe a whole army of unpainted things. And that's number one. It shouldn't be allowed just because of the fact that you can't showcase everybody's good-looking stuff.
Well, and one person took the time, or a bunch of people took the time to bring a bunch of stuff that they put time into, and then you're just like, yeah, fuck off. I mean, honestly, people bring like fucking shit that they spray paint black and then put a couple colors on, and they call it painted. And I even think that's sketch, but I mean, it's going to get the lowest paint score. But at least they put the time in to fucking put paint on models. And so, I mean, if that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. But yeah, I don't know. That was just, I wonder what your thought on that was. I just, I just think GTs need to be all painted.
Yeah. Because GTs are the ultimate showcase, man. Like, no matter what GT it is, whether it's a giant GT like, some of the big ones like Adepticon or LVO or something like that, or your local club's GT where you're having 20 or 30, 40 people, it should be the best of the best stuff. And that's what they're designed for anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We'll keep that tradition alive with our GT. There will be paint required. There will be minimal requirements. Not requirements. There will be a little bit of leniency on 3D prints, as long as it's clearly resembles what the unit or model's supposed to be.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah, because there are some fantastic 3D prints out there, especially for like replacing like old shit models that were made in the 80s or 90s.
Which they're getting rid of a lot of them.
Yeah, but I mean,
I
would say this. I would say if you're a Skaven player, you absolutely have in your possession 3D printed clan rats.
I have no 3D printed clan rats, but I do have 3D printed gutter runners and.
Oh, that's what I mean. Like, you have some 3D printed rat models because they're just hideous and they're old and.
Yeah. Oh, I have tons, and they're beautiful. I've even given. Logan Horner at the game room has gotten some from me. I've done a bunch of prints for him for rats. I mean, and someday they might come out with some of that stuff, but yeah, I mean, the printed stuff looks better, so you play with the printed stuff.
Yep, I agree with that. And like I said, as long as you don't have like a fully 3D printed army, I think you're probably mostly okay at a GT.
I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you what. I asked at MIGT. I asked how am I forgetting his name?
Jeff?
Because it's fine. Because I'm tired. Jeff said, "Hey, I got a entire 3D printed Lizard Man army. Can I bring it?" He said, "Yeah, I can't wait to see it."
Okay.
He don't care. I mean, it's fully painted. It wasn't, but I mean, it would have been fully painted, and it was all 3D printed. The models look cool. I mean, fucking playing your game is playing your game. If you don't have to, there shouldn't be a paywall. Like if you can print models for cheaper and paint them, and they look like what they're supposed to look like, and they're clearly right, and they're on the right size bases, I don't give a fuck. I mean, play your fucking game. And not everyone can afford to buy every army, and not everyone can afford, to take the time to, take time away from work and I don't know what I was getting at with that, but like, I mean, if you need to print your models to come play in our tournament, as long as it's painted and it's painted to a reasonable standard, not like, okay, I sprayed it green, I sprayed it red, I sprayed it black. I mean, I don't care if you bring 3D stuff. I mean, and if you have a problem with it, then we can discuss that. But like, I know you've used some 3D stuff in your army a few times, and I've definitely got a model here or there that are 3D printed. But I'll tell you, I mean, if somebody brought a really fucking cool looking 3D printed army, like that one guy that played at Adepticon this year, his wasn't 3D printed. But the KO army with the little robots and bullshit.
That was
that
really
guy
cool.
didn't use a fucking single KO model. I mean, he did, but barely. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I guess I would agree with that too. Yeah, I guess because it's considered conversion.
And I like if you're doing paint score and somebody does just 3D printed models, I don't think that's a conversion. I don't think that you should consider that a conversion for that bonus point. I mean, all you did is print somebody else's model. Now, if you made the model and if you're like, no, I crafted all these motherfuckers on the line and then I printed them out and then I painted them. I mean, we can negotiate that as a conversion then. But for the most part, if you're not chopping up models and like making your own models, then it's not a conversion. If somebody else made it and you just printed it, that's not a conversion. So, but if you use parts that are 3D printed and added them to already done models, conversion.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think we'll have to kind of come up with a little bit of a rubric so it's easy to judge that stuff. And I think actually MIGT has a pretty straightforward one that we could kind of go off of.
And I'm sure Jeff will share that with us.
Yeah,
he's helped us along the way.
But we can take a look at that. But all that is tournament prep for what we're gonna present for you guys at our GT. But like I said, I think we'll get most of that stuff kind of drawn up here in the next week or so, and get the BCP up and running so we can start selling tickets.
Love it.
And then we'll be stressed out for like 6 months trying to build terrain and whatever.
Yeah, we have to double what we already have. And we have to figure out what we have for fucking with the new terrain rules. That's going to be that's going to be the thing. But we'll get it figured out. I'm fired up about it. We've got Tim doing whatever Tim does, and hopefully he can work that out. He's a little butthurt about the game right now. I don't know. I don't know why. He hasn't gotten his roles yet, so that's part of the reason. I just need to make sure. I need to like force him to come down and play with us a few times, and he'll get in. He's in.
Yep.
So.
Well, I mean, like he could come down and play in August at the RTT too if he wanted to get some games in. Also, he's going to be down
hopefully he
anyway.
does, but he'll want to play before that.
Well, regardless, yeah. But I think that's probably good on time for today.
Yeah, I agree. I think that
was our 4.0 initial thoughts after playing a few games and getting to check out the rules and how the game plays and how it flows. And I think it'll be a very enjoyable edition. I think I don't think there's really a negative thing to say about it overall outside of like the clusterfuck of the app that they put out.
And some
that,
people don't like the way that endless spells work yet, but I think it's going to take some getting used to.
well, and like I said, I think that would be the one thing that maybe GW would have to adjust a little bit. But that's easily doable. They could put a points value on the cluster of spells to put in your list, and that would solve all of it.
Yeah, but then everyone would go to not bringing them again.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't know what the answer is, but that's something that could happen.
I think it's fun to always be able to play with them, but
Or you just change the rules and how they can be casted, like one spell per one wizard. Period. So, don't have one guy cast out 3 different endless spells.
yeah.
There's something they could adjust for sure to kind of balance that out or whatever. So,
Yeah, yeah. And
Anyhow-
that's something we can talk about later.
Yep.
Because I want to go to bed.
most of it, like I said, is super positive. I think everybody's just super excited about the new edition, and clearly people want to play games because we've had sign-ups for multiple tournaments that have already been ran, including this weekend. We made a big push, and we have 14 of our 20 tickets sold already, and it's not even August yet. So I think for the most part, players just want to play, baby. And they're excited
Play
about
is
this
gonna
edition.
play. Thanks for the new follows.
Yes.
Dos Ex Machina
and
the Granny.
Gamer Granny.
What was it?
Gamer Granny.
Thanks for checking us out today. And Deli Fresh, Deli Fresh. Thanks for coming as you always do on our Sunday morning shows.
Yep.
Anybody else that checks us out on YouTube, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Follow us on Discord. Join our Discord. Follow us on all our things.
Yes, sir.
All that
It's
shit.
all good time. And we can have all kinds of these discussions offline also. So thanks for hanging out today, guys. Until next week, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll see you.